market and institute effort to reduce a dominance and activities that drive exchange rate instability. The Bank of Ghana, in collaboration with law enforcement agencies, should clamp down on unregistered and unregulated businesses in Ghana.
Thank you so much. Kofi J is with our research desk. Now joining us is economist Dr. Patrick Isumin right now on this particular issue. We're so grateful for your time on the Midday News. But Doc, what immediate strategies do you recommend government needs to stabilize the city, which has become an issue of concern for some period now? What do you think should be done?
Good afternoon and good afternoon to the listeners. Thanks for having me. So I think we should think a little bit more longer term in terms of addressing the city's problem on a longer term basis than some of the shorter term measures that we've tried that has not really solved the problem. I think in time past we've relied on foreign inflows like doing Eurobond, doing the cocoa syndicated loan. But now is the time for us to begin to reform our whole economy in terms of how the economy is financed, the over-reliance on foreign financing. It's part of the reason why the city is extremely volatile. So I think going forward, looking a little bit more inward and looking for more sustainable financing arrangement. And then, of course, the major issue has to do with how we also rein in some of the imports, because some of the things that we import make the city chronically susceptible to the depreciation that we see. So I think rather than saying we are looking for short-term inflows to try and help us address the problem as it is now, which is what we've done in the past, which hasn't worked, we should have really drill down on the longer-term solutions.
Well, Doc, well said there, but then, businesses are moving to a more friendly business community. Also, labor agitations increasing by the day. What can be done in this situation to help reduce some of these things happening?
So when we think about, businesses relocating and the labor agitation, it's not necessarily just the currency's instability. I think it's a reflection of the overall difficult economic environment. So we've seen in the last few years, in addition to the problems brought on by the currency depreciation, we've also seen the rising cost of doing business, the increasing number of taxes, and the uncertainty generated by frequent changes in our tax laws. Those are a major part of why businesses are leaving. And then, of course, the rising utility tariffs and others. So I think we can't put everything on the city depreciation. So we have to think about making the economy work better, making the business environment more friendly. And that includes making sure that, our regulations are more stable. So we have one day, we've recently heard that we are trying to regulate cement prices. Another day, we've tried to impose a price floor on pricing of petroleum. One day, we are increasing new taxes. Another day, we are changing the computation. So we need to make the business environment more predictable so that we don't have frequent increases in taxes or bringing in new taxes more frequently. So I think that predictability is very important in terms of solving the uncertainty within the business environment, because it's not just the city depreciation.
Well,
then we need to start growing the economy on a more consistent basis and making it more diversified.
Well, you've talked about long-term solutions, but in the interim, the immediate future, what do we do?
So I think for the currency, one of the things we can do in the immediate term is halt the ease with which people can easily get access to the foreign currency. So one of the things that help with the speculation is that the ease with which Ghanaians can buy cedi is just not sustainable. So, can buy dollars, because if people have no basis to be buying dollars, i.e., they are not importing or they are not servicing dollar loans, we should tighten the regulation. In addition to what the Bank of Ghana is doing, which is enforcing the existing regulation, we should make it more difficult for people who don't need to buy dollars, and that one requires some tightening of the regulation from the parliamentary side.
Thank you so much. Dr. Patrick Isuming is an economist. Now, still on agitations with a countdown to a major strike by the Federation of Universities Senior Staff Association of Ghana, FUSAG, Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, SSA, and the Teachers and Education Workers Union TAU of TUC rapidly approaching. Pressure is mounting on the Finance Ministry to address critical issues surrounding their allowances. The looming industrial action threatens to disrupt the administration of public universities across the nation, casting uncertainty over academic activities and institutional operations. There's more in this report. On June 19, 2024, the National Labour Commission summoned the parties involved in the dispute over their allowances and directed them to engage and report back by June 26, 2024. An agreement was reached and an addendum signed following discussions with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Although the Commission has written to the Ministry of Finance to authorize payment, the Ministry has yet to issue the necessary letter, causing delays. With the three institutions, they have a staff strength of 9,000. Should the strike proceed, it is expected to significantly impact university operations across the country. Academic activities, including lectures, exams, and administrative functions, could be brought to a halt. Research projects may also be stalled. The strike also poses risks to the overall stability of public universities, affecting not only the immediate academic environment but also the broader community relying on these institutions. National Chairman of the Senior Staff Association of the Universities of Ghana, George Anson, doubts that the universities could operate at all.
So if all the junior staff and the senior staff are embarking on strike, you can imagine whether you can see whether the university will be able to work. If all drivers, all cleaners, all secretarial workers, account workers, nurses, security, and all that, if they are all staying home, you can imagine. And we don't think that government is being fair to us because we have signed an agreement on the 26th of June. So now you call and engage, they tell you, oh, we are sorry, the ministry was busy preparing the mid-year budget, so that is why the letter couldn't come. We waited. Then, we are also preparing something for IMF. We have had all this patience. Now GTEC, the regulator, is also instructing the universities who are on subvention and are being paid not to pay until they see that letter. So we are asking government or the ministry to immediately bring the letter out so that tempers will come down. Else, on the Friday of this week, we embark on strike.
Well, efforts to reach stakeholders, especially the Finance Ministry, to react to the issue has proven futile. Still on the strike, the Federation of Allied Health Professionals are currently in a meeting with the National Labour Commission and other stakeholders to resolve disputes on their work demands. The Federation's Kolebu chapter has also given a 7-day ultimatum to be given a seat on the hospital's management board or face resumption of their industrial strike. The group, representing 23 health professional bodies, temporarily suspended their strike so they could come to some form of agreement. President of the Allied Health Professionals Kolebu chapter is Dr. Francis Kwachi Entry.
We expect that all our members will resume to work. We have been summoned to meet the commission, God willing, at 11 a.m. in the morning. And we are hopeful. All we are demanding for is for the appointment of a director of Allied Health, not just Kolebu Teaching Hospital, but for the entire teaching hospitals. Let me state that the minister actually pleaded with us to give him 7 days to resolve this matter. We are not going to accept the fact that we are second-class citizens anymore.
Well, the Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Mr. Ofusua Samwa, is optimistic they'll resolve the issues.
Oh, certainly we are looking forward to have the issues settled. Between the striking allied workers, or at the moment it's been called off anyway, and the Ministry of Health. We just want to settle whatever difference that is between them so that work can go on smoothly and Ghanaians can enjoy good health service.
But they've given you a 7-day ultimatum. They want a seat on management board. Is that something you're willing to do for them?
The 7-day was not given to us. It was given to the ministry. And that is why we are intervening. We don't want a case where the 7-day will pass and then the issues will remain unresolved.
Well, let's head to the UK now. Reports reaching Joy News indicate that scores of Ghanaians living in the United Kingdom are stranded and unable to leave their homes for fear of being attacked by anti-immigration protesters demonstrating across the UK, having erupted across the country. Over the past week, these protests have become increasingly volatile, with some demonstrators resorting to violent actions, including setting ablaze hotel buildings where asylum seekers are being housed. And joining me on the line is Kofi Ritchie with Rainbow Radio. Kofi, if you can hear me, I mean, what is the sense you get from the Ghanaian community as we speak? Kofi Ritchie. And Kofi Ritchie is joining us via Zoom. Kofi, unmute your microphone and speak to me. What's the sense we're getting from the Ghanaian community following these protests? Well, before we get to Kofi Ritchie, we have a sound that will play concerning the protest that's ongoing in the United Kingdom.
Your friend Gladys Mensah, na niya kwa sunedi diye ama ye niya yem shishi. Si say yempese yemba ye won yemba krabe pie because you have to say sounds ba London so southwest media me was southwest. Inti ama na ye niya yem shishi. Inti ama na maka me nkola mi won nkola miensa maka wo mu ni egude mu mi mpese obi bia be pie. Se wo mu kopie wo mu kodi agro kra mi ye abata ne yem hihye enti sia de ya ka wo mu ni ahyede mu se ye betena ne ye ni mu ni ado se wo mu mpede but ya ka wo mu ahyede mu na ne akwedi de sisia de mu ayeden ehia yankopon so no ankasa beba na obeba abeje na ne akwedi de ebusuafo moma ye fa mpaibo nkwa na betumi agye ye.
And you heard there a Ghanaian resident in the UK, and my colleague Kenneth JC explains what she's been saying.
That's a distressed Ghanaian mother who is unable to go anywhere because, as we all are aware, the protests are targeting minority groups, which include black people. So she says she's been in the room for a long time, scared to even go out to buy anything.
Thank you, Kenneth. Well, let's try the lines again and reach Kofi Ritchie to see whether we'll get to him again. Kofi Ritchie, what's the sense of what's happening within the Ghanaian community in the UK, if you can hear me? Unfortunately, we do not have him. But let's stay a while longer on protest and international issues. The ECOWAS Commission has expressed great concern over the ongoing protests in Nigeria, lamenting the violence, fatalities, and property damage reported. While the Commission commiserated with families of the people that have lost their lives, it also expressed concern over the alleged looting and destruction of public and private properties. My colleague Kenneth JC joins me with more in the studio of details of this statement. What does the statement say, Kofi?
Well, the statement says that the ECOWAS Commission in the statement has reaffirmed the right of citizens to peaceful protest, a right enshrined in both the 2001 ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance and the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria. The Commission welcomed President Bola Tinubu's recent State of the Nation address on August 4th, which called for inclusive dialogue to address grievances and persevere peace and security. The ECOWAS Commission statement concluded by urging all protesters and stakeholders to heed President Tinubu's call for dialogue, emphasizing the importance of maintaining peace and security in Nigeria and the broader ECOWAS region.
Thank you so much. Meanwhile, it's the 6th day of demonstrations across the country against economic hardship, poor living conditions, and bad governance. At least 13 people have died since the protests began, many killed by security operatives. Amnesty International said, although the police dispute the facts. Now, Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has made fresh appeals to Nigerians to halt all forms of protest and make room for dialogue as violence, looting, and tensions characterize the demand for better living conditions.
The destruction of facilities in some states and the wanton looting of supermarkets and shops, contrary to the promise of protest organizers that the protest will be peaceful across the country. The destruction of properties set us back as a nation, as scarce resources will be again used to restore them. I commiserate with the families and relations of those who have died in the protest. We must stop further bloodshed, violence, and destruction. As the president of this country, I must ensure public order in line with the constitutional oath to protect the lives and property of every citizen. Our government will not stand idly by and allow a few with a clear political agenda to tear this nation apart. Under the circumstances, I hereby enjoin protesters and the organizers to suspend any further protest and create room for dialogue.
Well, John News also spoke to some Nigerians living in Ghana who pledged their full support to their compatriots protesting back at home, but urged them to do so in a peaceful manner.
Somebody, when Buhari was there was a protest going on. He commanded the soldier, the military, to shoot. And now the people have realized and they come again on his own turn. And they are also protesting. Now he's sharing his ideas because he knows what he's supposed to do. And the protest he will never come on. And he never done it. And now people are going on protesting and he's advising the people to go back. And it's not possible because the people are suffering.
I think they should go on with the protest. Because even here in Ghana, the way the people talk about Nigeria, things and that, this and that, I think the bad government is too much in Nigeria. I think they should, join hands together and fight for, the good of Nigeria and gather themselves, then have a good politics.
Sometimes people talk about Nigeria, people say bad things about us, you understand? But that does not mean that we are really bad. It's just because of the kind of government we have, our government are not really suitable, you understand? They're making the masses to suffer, most especially the poor masses, you understand? Yeah, so our economy, our things are not circulating, not everybody getting our social amenities.
And you heard there some Nigerians living in Ghana sharing their views on the protests ongoing in their country. You're still listening to the Midday News live here on Joy 99.7 FM. And you've been hearing this afternoon that Ghana's economic woes deepen with labor agitations, business collapse, and exits of some businesses due to the depreciation of the cedi. We have sports when we return, and also the National Road Safety Authority. We're worried about the surge in road accident deaths as the country approaches elections in December.
We are unable to say that there are politically related crashes concerned to do with enforcement because we do not have, to a greater extent, a frontline responsibility for these retail enforcement issues.
This is what the Olympics is all about.
Get closer to split-second wins, closer to history in the making, closer to your champions.
Greatest athletic achievements of all time.
Get DSTV to get closer to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games from 26 July to 11 August with 9 dedicated channels for the best coverage of every medal and every podium moment. On Supersport on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the car prizes are cashier in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone. Yeah, the luckiest.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports with Muftal.
Maame Esi,
Yes.
on September 5, Ghana will play Angola in an AFCON qualifier.
Okay.
However, the Baba Yara Sports Stadium playing surface is like a rice farm. And
why do you say that?
That's the regional director of the National Sports Authority, Kwame Ba, insists that the facility will be ready to host the match.
Okay.
A lot of videos on the social media, and I have tasked my IT department to do a before, during, and after video and pictures of the stadium. And at the end of the day, we'll come back to say that yes, prudently, we have managed the little resources you want to hear about from the Kumui program. And at the same time, we have been able to cater for our water bill, electricity bills, payment of janitorials, cleaners, and all manner of people working day in and out to ensure that your dear Baba Yara Sports Stadium, it's at a point where we can all be very, very proud of. Okay.
It will be ready. Maame Esi, that's what matters.
It's a very sad situation. Thank you so much, Muftal. Now, the National Road Safety Authority says the phenomenon of increased road fatalities is a worrying trend noticed during the election year. Though the number of crashes has reduced, people dying in accidents shot up by 151 deaths in the first half of the year, an increase of close to 14%. That is an average of 7 people dying per day in Ghana due to road crashes. Head of Regulation Inspection and Compliance at the National Road Safety Authority, Kwame Kodie-Echiahene, has raised concerns over law enforcement and low police visibility on roads.
At the turn of 2024, there's an upset in some of the areas. Ashanti in particular. In fact, Ashanti is overtaking Greater Accra and Eastern as the region with most fatalities. In every election year, if the trend over time is that in every election year, there's often the increase as compared to the preceding year. We are unable to say that there are politically related crashes. In Ashanti in particular, I think that's concern to do with enforcement. The general visibility issues or lack thereof is not related to just Ashanti. In fact,
well, the National Road Safety Authority is also calling for an urgent audit of street lights nationwide following alarming statistics revealing that between January and June 2024, 1,237 lives were lost to crashes. We can hear from Joy News editor MFA Pawu, who took a tour of some intersections and roads in the city and covering the daily struggles and risks faced by commuters.
We started from the Atenka village. Right down that intersection, you realize that the traffic lights there almost never works. Straight behind me goes to Joy FM, and those of you who know it know that this is the Sadisco traffic light. It is almost a blessing for it to ever work. It never works. The same response we get all the time is it's a technical challenge that they are trying to fix. That's the response you always get.
And that's MFR Power. Meanwhile, government has assured it will soon resume work on phase 3 of its elaborate streetlight project. The Tema Motorway, the N1 Highway, and other major road infrastructure remain without streetlight, posing significant danger to motorists. We can hear from the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Titus Glover.
Because criminals don't like visibility, government has supported the region to make sure we light up the entire region with some streetlights. In phase 1, 10,000 streetlights was distributed in 2022, 20,000 in 2023, and in phase 3, we are going to do 25,000. And there's a process in place where a company want to partner the Regional Coordinating Council to do a solar one on the Tema Motorway. They will do a pilot from Shiashin to Airport 37 to Accra Central.
Titus Glover is Greater Accra Regional Minister, and that's how we come to the end of the bulletin. But before we go, we have MNJ. And Jackie is here. Jackie, what's trending?
Well, Maame of Lagos is back. Esi, do you know Maame of Lagos?
Bobrisky.
Yes, he's back. And people have been talking about it. You know, he's also advised netizens not to mutilate the naira. That was right after he came out of prison. But then people are asking, what food have they been giving them in prison? Because was he actually in prison, or he's looking very
too fresh, eh?
Yes, like with a body and all that. So someone said, what kind of food do they serve them in jail? Why is he looking thick? So people have been asking that question. I wonder, you know, he's not the only one. Vibes Cartel, Showboy, anytime they come out of prison, they're looking thicker and all that.
Maybe they get the time to rest as well over there.
Well, maybe. But then Kwesi Arthur is also trending. It looks like he's enjoying love more than music. So he posted a picture of him with a lady on social media. And you know how people are. We haven't really heard music from him. And it looks like every time we see him, he's with a woman. So people have been talking about it. You know, maybe he's now focusing on relationship more than music.
Love is sweet, isn't it?
Well, I can't relate.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Maame Esi Thompson. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otudo.